Welcome to Adobe Think Tank again. Follow along and join the conversation using hashtag AdobeTT. And with me is Olga Russakovsky, Assistant Professor at Princeton. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
And you've got the swag on right now.
Absolutely.
Talk to me a little bit about why you founded AI for All, and more importantly, diversity and inclusion at the K through 12 level too, because I think that's incredibly important.
Yeah, absolutely. So AI for All, we started together with Fei Li and Rick Sommer in 2016, actually. 2017, last year. It's only a year old.
Time's flying.
I believe it. Yeah, time's flying. We're already 2018. So it's a foundation to increase diversity and inclusion in artificial intelligence, in AI. And we started because there is really a problem in AI right now, and I would argue actually the biggest problem that is in AI right now is the fact that it's being built by a very homogeneous group of people. So there's statistics like at NIPS, which is the leading AI conference, last year, about 10% of the authors were women. And that's really a problem because we're building this technology that's in theory supposed to benefit everybody, is supposed to reflect everybody, and that just can't happen if we are excluding large groups of the population systemically.
Yeah, that voice is getting lost in the conversation, and then the creation and the implementation, and it just kind of it's a chain effect, right?
Exactly, absolutely. And so AI for All really tries to remedy that. And there are several things we do. One of the big activities is we start summer camps in partnership with universities.
Very cool.
And every summer camp actually targets a particular underrepresented group. So we started with a camp at Stanford for high school girls. Then we started a camp at Berkeley last year for local low-income students. We're starting 4 more this year, including one at Princeton for racial minorities. And so each of these camps brings together a group of students to come to campus for the summer for between 1 and 3 weeks, learn from AI professors, from PhD students, and also get to know each other and build a support community amongst themselves.
Yeah.
And then AI for All brings all of these students into its alumni network, provides continuous education, provides continuous support to make sure that it's not just a 3-week program, that it really has impact beyond that.
At what age do you think is the best to kind of start introducing students to AI?
Yeah, so we've talked about this a lot. So the Stanford camp, we get girls after 9th grade.
Okay.
Talked about this a lot. It's sort of that time when they have enough mathematical foundation to actually appreciate some of the AI technology,
right.
But are sort of starting to think about electives and starting to kind of shape their career path. At Princeton, we're doing camp for students who just finished 10th grade, and the reason for that is we're looking at AI technology and policy, and we want students to have taken the US government. And that's usually taught in 10th grade, so we want another year of history under their belt before we bring them to camp. So it kind of varies, and these camps are largely sort of after 9th or 10th grade.
What, I mean, this is a potential pitfall, obviously, in the the ecosphere of AI, but are there any other big potential pitfalls for the whole of AI as a field?
I think this is the biggest. I think this is by far the biggest.
Yeah.
I think this causes bias in algorithms, bias in systems.
Right.
I think
this is humans programming machines, so that bias is always there.
Absolutely, and this is humans, more importantly, who are deciding what problems to work on. So largely, the problems we choose to tackle as researchers are the ones we're passionate about. Mm-hmm. That is influenced by our experiences as humans. How we choose to, find solutions to these problems, that depends on kind of what our experiences are, what we think are the right solutions. Right. Where we look for data, that's influenced by, again, our experiences, that's influenced by our location. Like if we send a robot out in the world to collect data, a lot of the time, what's the easiest thing to do? It will run around our office, and the initial data collection will be in our,
Yeah, it's what's seen, what's apparent. Talk to me a little bit about developing things in AI, right? So what can you do to kind of be a leader in this space and kind of create that from the inside out and create more leaders, right?
So that's a really good question. There's many things you can do. Well, first of all, you can support AI for All. That's a big thing you can do.
That's incredibly easy. All right.
Exactly. I think it's very important to educate the next generation of students, and I think that's really where the impact comes from, is in how we do education, how we do mentorship. So making sure when you're educating students, so certainly don't paint AI as a field that only geniuses can be a part of. So AI research is really a skill, just like any other skill.
It's a spectrum, right? There's a ton of things you can do inside of that spectrum.
Absolutely, but any of the things you want to do, really, it's all a skill. So you learn about different technology, you learn about different algorithms, you learn about different coding frameworks, and you can build up that skill set and become an expert, become a leader in this field just by, it's a step-by-step learning process. And I think it's very important to emphasize to students that it's not that we're born doing AI or we're born being AI researchers or there's something special about us that makes us uniquely qualified for this field. No, it's just that we studied it for many years and now here we are.
Right.
That's one of the big things, and I think unfortunately right now part of the AI conversation is about is particularly with deep learning, sort of there's an emphasis on, wow, this is a really special, unique field, and there's a little bit of a feel of it's only accessible to the select few, and I think that's a problem.
Yeah, so it's more about making it accessible, obviously giving people opportunity, and then giving them ability over time to become leaders, right? But
Yes.
you have to start at a beginning point, an introduction, right? And that introduction is incredibly important.
Absolutely, and you have to continue supporting these students. You have to continue making them feel like they're part of the community.
Because if it's just a 1 week thing and then
Exactly.
you drop off, then you've lost them. So,
Exactly.
and so how can people get involved?
Well, there are several ways. So one of the things we're doing, well, of course, if you're a high school student, you can attend one of the camps.
Sure.
We are also working on releasing some online educational content because really the other problem is that AI is actually not accessible to many people right now, and there's a lack of knowledge, awareness, understanding of how to use this technology. And if we're trying to build something that will change the lives of everybody for the better, how can we do that if a lot of people are afraid of this technology or don't understand how to use it? And so we're developing some online content with the hope of actually reaching millions of people with this. And this is both kind of introductory modules to some of the technology, teacher support materials, things like that. And we're hoping to launch that later this year.
That's awesome. Well, thanks so much, Olga.
Thank you very much for having me.
And to learn more, again, go to adobethinktank.com.